Over the past year that the president has been in office, over 75 environmental regulations were rolled back. What are you most worried about?
So what we know, generally speaking, and it's not just what's unique to the parks in America, and that is, of course, something that we're concerned about, those who follow the environmental issues and really care about what the future is going to look like. We know that we need to keep the degree warming of the planet under 2 degrees Celsius. That was the whole point of the Paris Accord. And what Trump did upon getting into office was completely removed us from the Paris Agreement. And so that was just the beginning of exactly what you just referred to as a long list of deregulation of protecting the environment. And so that was a broad measure, and that since then, he reversed the Clean Power Plan that Obama had put into place and instead implemented the Affordable Clean Energy Rule. And what that did was systematically remove everything positive that had been put into effect to protect the environment, not just within our country, but abroad, globally. And part of that was propping up the coal industry. It was completely disregarding the vehicle emissions standards that were put into place and allowing offshore oil and natural gas drilling. And these were exactly the kinds of things that this administration has made now the new normal, despite what the global partnerships that we had in place are saying needs to happen to protect ourselves against that degree warming.
But when we talk about degree warming, when we talk about climate change, sometimes it can all seem very overwhelming and far off, like it's all going to happen in a long time. But rolling back the regulation, what can it affect now?
Rolling back the regulations right now is going to result in air pollution, which is not the same thing as carbon pollution. So when we talk about carbon pollution, we are talking about man-made carbon that's being put in the atmosphere that is impacting what we call the long-term periods of weather that are referred to as climate. Air pollution is annoying, it's disruptive, it's a negative experience in days and weeks that we are able to breathe in, but we can overcome. But what's more important than that, when we think about our long-term health and wellness and security as a populace, is what it's going to look like over periods of time. And that's where we talk about climate pollution. And that's where it's so imperative that we think about how we are implementing policies and individuals and stakeholders like industry are acting to reduce those behaviors so that we don't find ourselves in situations where inconvenient daily or weekly air pollution becomes the norm over long extended periods of time. That would make for a very uncomfortable future. And that, unfortunately, if we don't collectively work together from the local and state and national levels with our global partners, which is what this most recent meeting of parties was in Poland called COP24. If we don't work together to reduce that carbon in the atmosphere, we're never going to get to that point where we are able to comfortably breathe. And it's not going to be as far into the future as we think. It can be as soon as in the next 12 years, as recent reports have showed us.